Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1424, written by Speaker 11. The quarter that slipped into another dimension. I was living with a few buddies while in college, about a decade ago, when we were all chilling in the living room on the couch playing Smash Bros. I mindlessly picked up a quarter from the coffee table and just sorta tossed it back on the table while waiting for my turn to play. The quarter hit the table and slid off the back, landing on the floor audibly with that signature wobbly coin hitting the floor sound. You know, the one where it's kinda spinning on its sides? So a few minutes later, I got up to go get something to drink, and on my way back, I went to pick up the quarter that fell on the floor, but it wasn't there. Not only was it not there, but not anywhere in the entire room. It couldn't have rolled anywhere, and there were no cracks, vents, or holes in our floor. Absolutely zero explanation for it falling off the coffee table and disappearing from reality. Since then, I've read several theories about the chances of objects just passing through other objects, but with incredibly insane odds that it would ever happen. If anyone knows what I'm referring to, feel free to remind me. So maybe it just ended up in my downstairs neighbor's apartment? No idea. Case file 1424. The quarter that slipped into another dimension. What you referred to is the physical process called quantum tunneling. It's how fusion works in the hot plasma of the sun. In effect, atoms don't exist as precise points in space, but rather as clouds of probability. If you apply enough heat and pressure in a given area, then the odds that the probability waves of atoms will overlap increases. However, this should almost never happen outside of very hot and pressurized environments. It's the whole conundrum with trying to get fusion to work here on Earth. We just don't have enough pressure. We can get a lot of heat though, and that's the only way we can do it. So it's more likely it's a classic DOP event for this coin. The coin didn't phase through the floor, no. It just ported into a different universe, which I think is even more incredible. Bonus file written by cowtownkeener. The mystery of the flying paint cans. Okay, if someone could explain this one to me, it would be great. It's really weird. I was staying at this old 1930s house in a rural town with my dad and sister. There was an old stairway up into the attic with a door at the bottom. The attic was more like a bedroom, really, than the type of attic you see in most houses. I think they probably used it as a storage room. At the top of the stairs, as you entered the attic, there was a deep cupboard on the right-hand side with a door. The type of cupboard you could crawl up inside and hide in if you wanted to. So anyway, there was nothing up there except a bunch of old empty paint cans that were stacked in the cupboard with the door closed. The first night, when we were going to sleep, fairly late, around 11, we heard this crash from the attic. We went to check it out. The cupboard door had opened and the cans had all spilled out all the way down the stairs, which would have required them to turn a 90-degree corner, and all of them lay at the bottom of the stairs now. Weird, right? Anyway, we went back to bed, and the next day, my dad put the cans back in the cupboard and closed the door. The next night, around the same time, the same thing happened. Door opened, cans at the bottom of the stairs. This time it was really creepy, but my dad put them back again the next day, pushing them all the way to the back of the cupboard so they wouldn't fall out again. This night, instead of just the cans falling down, there was this loud crash from the attic. My dad ran up and I came up with him. The cupboard door had blown off its hinges, fragments were stuck in the ceiling, and most of the door lay across the room on the floor. It was the most terrifying scene I've ever witnessed. The cans were again at the bottom of the stairs. We looked in the cupboard to see what could cause it. There was nothing, just wooden walls, ceiling, and floor. We left everything as it was this time. It was just too freaky. The next night, nothing. Anyway, we left after that night. So far, my only theory is in the line of ghosts. Not very original, but I honestly have no clue. I'm a pretty handy guy too, and nothing about this made any sense to me. Case notes for the bonus file. The mystery of the flying paint cans. So I've been thinking lately that I think the world as a spirit sees it is likely different or blurry than as we perceive it. Faded out. So those paint cans may not even be what they are to us. In their perspective. Also, there's a certain energy you can feel when you're around, I guess you could say evil. or maybe rather unsettled or unstable spirits, or even human beings, you can feel the aura that emanates from them when you're around them, and you know to get out. You don't test the waters in some circumstances, but we do innately know it. Bonus file written by Lily001, The Shed of Shadows. I remember that one night, it was nearing midnight and I was home alone. This happened when I was 18, waiting for my brother to come home. We lived out in the country with no neighbors, so I felt comfortable with the front door unlocked as I was chilling downstairs in the living room. Then, out of nowhere, I hear a loud crash coming from the bathroom to the left of the kitchen. I froze for a good 3 to 4 minutes and I was terrified. It sounded like someone had thrown a rock at the window in the bathroom, and our bathroom window was the only one that was a fully glass window, as all the other ones were plexiglass. Then after a while, I managed to calm myself down and figured that the shower rod had fallen as it had been happening for a while now. Before I walked to the bathroom, I locked the front door and then made my way to the bathroom. Nothing was out of order. No broken glass, no fallen rod, nothing at all. So I went upstairs and wondered if it was something upstairs that had fallen. I checked all the rooms and nothing looked like it had fallen. My brother's window was open, but it was the opposite direction that I had heard the sound from. I closed it and locked it just to be safe and went back downstairs. Then I reasoned that it might have been something behind the house in the shed. I called it a shed, but it was more like an old porch that had been fashioned into a shed. So like an idiot, I grabbed a kitchen knife and ventured outside behind our house. If this was a part of a horror movie, I'm sure I would have been killed. When I got back there, nothing looked out of place. The ladder hadn't fallen, nothing was knocked off from the shelves, nothing. So with my uneasiness growing, I ran back into the house and locked the door again, and messaged my brother to call me to open the door when he got home. I never found out what was behind that loud noise or why it happened. Case notes for the bonus file. The Shed of Shadows. Okay, this is interesting because something relatively similar happened to me when I was a teenager. I was home alone, my mom was out working, and it was maybe 7 p.m., but it was already dark outside. The door from outside to inside was really close to the living room area, like a few feet. I could see it from the couch. I was watching a show, and I heard a massive crash or bang on the door. I felt it vibrate the air. Immediately went to look at the peephole, but I saw nothing. I hadn't thought of this in over a decade until now. It's very interesting. It's a phantom noise with no source. Now time for the quote of the day. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Robert Frost. Life sure does go on, and it always finds a way. The good thing about that, of course, is that we persist. And even though if we might die or get transposed to a different universe, whatever it may be, I think the essence of who we are remains. Even after that final death, life goes on because it's a repeating pattern, and maybe even encoded deliberately from a simulation. It's interesting to ponder on what comes after life, but maybe that's not even the right move. Maybe it's just about enjoying the life we do know we have right now. So I'll keep pondering on the future and what lies beyond everything, but make sure you enjoy the gift that you have now, because for certain you do have it. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.